good. I think we're wanted to comment today that our concern is we've talked about pensions for a year and a half, and we've talked about pension reform and stabilizing a pension system that is, as we all know, unfunded to the tune of $85 billion. We've now shifted this discussion to saying, state, you've screwed up over the last 40 or 50 years, and we want to shift that responsibility to local school districts with an amount and an uncertainty that nobody knows how to quantify with their potential liability. We have a potential pot of savings here. No one really knows what it is, but whatever the number is, we can take those savings and access those immediately if all we do is take out the shift language. We're prepared to support a pension bill. It wasn't done in a way I would have liked to have seen it done, but if you take out the shift, we can pass a pension bill, there'd be no delay, and we can move forward and put it on the governor's desk, and we're willing to do that today if he'll take out the shift. And I think just the other observation about the shift is, this isn't just Republicans. This is Democrats and Republicans in the House. One of his leaders called it craziness. Senator Cullerton has said he's not going to do a bill from a TRS standpoint. So it really begs the question, what's the Speaker up to? And is he really serious about pension reform?
The Speaker called asking the state to pay for local districts' pensions un-American. How do you respond to that?
Well, we've been doing it in this state for the last 40 or 50 years and longer. The reality is we have a problem in large part because the state enhanced benefits and didn't charge for them, and we didn't make pension payments. The last time we didn't make a pension payment, Speaker Madigan and Rod Blagojevich decided to do that. It was a huge mistake, and now we say to suburban and downstate schools, not Chicago, you are going to help clean up this mess. I find that un-American, to shift that responsibility on a problem created by this body in this building.
How much of that do you bear, though, as one of the longtime leaders here?
The good news is I never voted to support not making a pension payment, and I don't believe I can find any bills that I voted for that created problems on a pension basis. The reality is we have a mess. We have to fix it. It's our mess. We helped create it. We're willing to do that today without the shift. And again, this is not a Republican position. This is a Democrat and Republican position together.
When you say what's your folks voted no, you would have said that was the right thing to do. Vote no.
If you were going to shift responsibility to the tune of 9, 10, maybe 12, 13% to a local school district, not putting any skin in the game on the Chicago side, it's hard to do that. And I find that troubling. I think this is typical Speaker Madigan. Let's throw a poison pill in there so I can say, well, I tried, it didn't happen. He told me 3 weeks ago he didn't want to do teachers. I said, I think you need to do teachers. Teachers need to be in the mix. And he said, I don't want to do them. I think it's difficult. I think it's complicated. So this is his way to not address the teacher problem, which is a very, very shameful approach, in my opinion.
So no is the vote that you endorse. You vote no on
I
this.
support a pension reform bill, not a shifting, Dave.
You vote no on this bill.
I will be filing an amendment when we get upstairs to take away the shifting aspect, and let's do a pension bill, not a shifting bill.
You're not an answer on this bill.
I am voting for a pension reform bill, and whatever those savings are, they're on the table. Whatever that number is, it could be 40, it could be 50, it could be $60 billion. All you have to do, Speaker Madigan, is take out the shift, and let's move it on.
Is this also an election year ploy to get them off the hook against voting against people that have funded them in the election?
There's no question about it. The people that got us in this mess that he worked with, the union officials that have given him millions of dollars, don't want to do pension reform. And so they got us in the mess and they're keeping us from getting out of it. There's no question. This is what this is about. He told me that, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't want to do teachers.
Did he give any reason as to why that was?
He just said it would be complicated and difficult.
Should judges be included in pension reform in your mind? I
happen to think everybody ought to be included. We've all got systems, all 5 systems are severely underfunded. We ought to be treated equally. It's also kind of curious that Chicago's, there's no reform included. But even having said that, what he has in there, take out the shift, we'll support it. Let's move it on. Let's get it done. It's not a perfect bill. You know what? I say the contrast here is fascinating. We did a Medicaid reform bill that was significant, that most people would say was very real. We did it in a bipartisan, collaborative way. It worked. Members should be credited for what they did. Now we're back to the old Mike Madigan way of saying, I'll draft a bill, I'll give it to you at 7:50 a.m. in the morning, you take it or leave it, because this is my building. That's what got us in trouble. And I think the kind of the newer way works a little better than the older way, and we're seeing that today.
Do
you expect a vote on this today in the House?
I have no idea. That's up to Mike.
When do you file that amendment?
I'm going to file it when we get upstairs.
And do you think you can get it out of the Rules Committee? And if not, what then?
Well, I think I'll ask Representative Lang to support me. Representative Lang called this craziness. Representative Martino has said this makes no sense. Senator Cullerton apparently doesn't like it. So there's Democrat support for my amendment. If you want to be for pension reform, take the shift out and let's move on. Why cloud the issue? Why shift the responsibility? Let's fix our own mess.
I apologize for my ignorance. What has Senator Cullerton said about this?
Said he's not told he's not doing TRS. Senator Radonio told me he told him I'm not doing TRS to the fall. Clearly, Democrat leaders are on a TRS in the fall. The reason we have a poison pill. Let me ask you this: if we were really doing pension reform that included teachers, where are they? When the governor talked about 3 or 4 years ago about raising the contribution level by 2%, there were 20,000 teachers around the Capitol. I'd say we're about 19,950 short. Obviously, the wink and the nod has taken place between the speaker and the union officials saying, this isn't real. You don't have to get your people ginned up. They don't need to come down because I'm not really doing anything. If they were coming down, it might be a little different story, but I don't see them. So I think you have to ask the speaker, what's he really up to?
In November after the election.
November's too late. We have an $85 billion unfunded liability. Everybody concedes it's a problem. Why put it off? If he's that bought and paid for by the unions, that's tragic. So thank you all very, very much.
Thanks, folks.